Hello, my crafty friends. Um, Today we're gonna make library pockets out of envelopes, and I just wanted to show you some that I've gotten out of books, like from the library book sale. And this one was out of an old book called African Shadows, and it actually has the where they checked out the book. And look at that card, isn't that funny? It's all cut wonky, and it's like they weren't that worried about it. It also has this piece of paper from 1965 that says, "Keep this card in the book pocket, 10 cents charge if lost." Um, so there's that library pocket. But you'll notice most of these have a really tall background. That's one thing that's in common. These two have a plain background, and um, this one's from the elementary school library. So it has where they just marked right on here. I guess they didn't even put a tag inside it. I don't know. But anyway, this is kind of what I'm used to seeing. But I saw this. I got this one out of a book, and it had the smallest envelope that I've ever seen in a library book, but the largest card. Look at that. It's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. But the reason I'm showing you all this is so you can see. This one, it was cut down probably to fit in the book. Some of them have stuff typed on them, some of them don't. Some of them have tall backs, some of them don't. So you can make your library card pocket however you want to. Um, anyway, we're gonna make three today out of these three envelopes, and then we're gonna use these three envelopes and some of these sales receipt things to make our library cards to go inside them. So um, the first thing that you do is go ahead and seal it shut. That one I've already done. Let's get a glue stick here. And these will be wider, except for this one. This one's pretty close to the size of most library pockets, but these two will be wider. But I think that's okay for what we're using them for. It won't matter if they're wider. Okay. Now this one is going to be one of the short ones because it's a short envelope. And if I went to make the library pocket, you fold it up. And to make the pocket of any size, it'll be short on the top. And that's not a problem. One thing I've noticed is too that all of these are straight across and they're glued in the back. Straight across and glued in the back, straight across and glued in the back. This one is, it's got rounded corners and it's glued in the front. So the back pieces come around to the front. So, um, so that's another way you can do it however you want. So what we're going to do, I've got my fold line there, and actually, no, let's just go ahead. I'm just going to trim it right down to that fold line on each side. I was going to get out my trimmer, but I decided just to use the scissors. Now these you can make them, you can cut it narrower. Because they are wider. Okay. So what we're going to do is get rid of this part here, and we're going to get rid of most of this. So let's go ahead and cut this off. Get it out of the way. And then for this one, I'm just going to cut it right up here. And I'm not even going to go all the way because we're going to let that make the top edge of the pocket smoother. So we've got this, and then we're just going to glue that down. Okay, now you could take this part here and this part here. Let's unglue it right there. Okay, so you can take this off. Let's just go ahead and trim that off. And then pull this up, and this is how we're going to make another one, and then glue it to the back. Like that. But because we had one that was glued inside, we're just going to go ahead and do this one inside. I don't think it makes a lot of difference in usability, but we'll see. And that does open really nicely because it's glued on this side. That gives it that a little bit extra. And I am going to go ahead and trim the corners. Let's try that again on this. There we go. So there's one. Just like that. Now, you can leave it like this and then decorate it, or you can decorate it before you fold it up so that you can decorate down in here a little more if you want to decorate the back. I'm going to leave this one just like this, and then I'm just going to decorate the front and leave this alone. Now, I'll have to trim my envelope that goes inside it a little bit, make it smaller to make my library card for this one, but that's okay. And so now we're going to do the same thing with these. And I'm going to make this one about this big. And we're going to trim it down. Well, actually, let's use the trimmer, because I did that when I was playing with it earlier, and it is a little bit easier. You have to kind of line that line up right there, and then you can pull that off. Same thing over here. And I don't want it. And we're going to lift this up and bring it right to where that crease is. And then we're going to cut. And I didn't quite make it all the way up, which is why you might as well use scissors, unless you really, really are worried about it. Okay. Now then I'm going to take this part off. And you could, if you want to be more economical with your envelopes, you could use this right here and cut it down and decorate it and make it your tag to go in your pocket. You could do that. And I don't know, I'll stick it over there. We'll think about it. Okay, now then I'm going to take this up. Well, let's trim off just a little bit here first. That'll make it easier. Although I do like the idea of leaving the inside in there to make that smoother. And then you can just take this and make it as wide or as narrow as you want. It doesn't matter. It's going to be on the back. Trim that off. And then we're going to take this and fold it around and glue it on the back. So, easy peasy. And then I'm going to go ahead and round the corners here. So there's another one. And then we can make a library card to go in there. Let's go ahead and trim this one down. I'm gonna trim it. No, I need to glue it so it'll stay together when I... Okay. Now this one, you can trim it from either side. I'm just going to trim it from this side and make it skinnier. But that way the we only have one side that we have to glue shut. And you can go ahead and throw some glue down in there if you want to. I'm going to add a little bit right here. And on this side. That's one thing about working with envelopes. You got to worry about all those little flaps. Okay. So here's the library card for this one. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it long just because I thought it was so funny that that other one was really long compared to the envelope itself. So there we've got two of them. So let's go ahead and do this one. And with this one, yeah, we're going to just do this kind of like we did that one. Except I think I'm going to fold up this side because that side's dirty. I don't know that it really matters because we're going to decorate them anyway, but okay. And we're just going to trim down. And trim off this top so that we can take out this part. Okay. You can, let's just go ahead and take this out. I'm trying to remember what it was I was going to do different about this one. Oh, I remember. Okay. Come on. Okay. And then we're just going to trim off a little bit here. Get rid of that. And then the one thing I decided I wanted to do different on this one is to go ahead and trim the corners on this. And then we can either glue it in here, or we can take it around to the back and glue it on. It doesn't really matter which way you want to do it. I'm gonna, I think, glue it in here. I think that just makes your pocket a little bit more usable, because we're gonna have probably have something in there that's a little thicker than your average library card. Okay, there we go. And now we're gonna trim this and this. Okay. And then we've got a envelope right here we can use as our library card. So we've got 3 now. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn these into library cards. And then we'll decorate the envelopes. And there might be, I'm sure there is actually, something that's better to use than this, but I think this will work fine. Okay. Now then, what you have to decide is, do you want to leave this, or do you want to just go down to here, which will make it look a little bit more like a library? Well, here's a library card. See, it just looks like that. I think, I was going to say, where did it come out of? I think I'm just going to glue them on to this. Right up here on all of them. And this one, I'm going to have to trim a little bit because my pocket's a little bit too, I had to trim that one off. So we're going to take a little bit off on each side. Uh-oh, maybe we're not. That's, paper wasn't wanting to work, but we're just going to go ahead and use it. Like that. No, I don't want to, because I don't want one that's torn. All right. I really wanted it centered, and that's not centered, so that bothers me more than the okay. And now we're going to glue those on. Glue stick. All right. Let's go ahead and do them kind of at the top. Those need to be shut. They didn't get shut. So. There's one. These are very thin little receipts, so. Okay. So now we have a, I can get it in there. We have a book card for each one, like that. And then we can decorate them inside however we want. You could even decorate this side of the envelope and put it in there so that it's purely decorative, and then this can be your journaling spot. You can do that however you want. And you can decorate the back and the front, or you can just decorate the front. You can do whatever you want with them. I'm going to leave these just like this for right now. And I'm not sure how I want to decorate these, to be honest with you. So I'm going to leave you hanging. I'm going to leave you hanging. And one day in September, we will come back and we will decorate these and make them beautiful. And by then, maybe I'll know how I want to do it. Right now, I just like that they look kind of like library cards. I mean, library pockets. So make some, and then in September, we will decorate them. God bless you. Bye-bye.